Hey everybody, welcome back to the Attract and Stand Out Brand Building Virtual Summit. I'm your host, Darlene Holly. And for those of you that are just hearing one of these interviews for the first time, I'm a personal branding and clarity coach, and I help ambitious, heart-centered online entrepreneurs. I teach them how to create a successful personal brand and business by building a solid foundation so they can share their message with the world, attract dream clients, and make more money doing what they love. This year's summit is all about building a profitable brand and business that allows you to authentically show up and connect with your audience. And I'm so excited to feature so many amazing business owners and share their powerful stories with you for my second annual virtual summit. And today's interview is going to be amazing. She's back again for a second time with us for the virtual summit. Jenn is a Facebook and Instagram ad specialist. She's a speaker, a coach for personal brands that are changing the world and want to have a greater impact, get qualified leads and loyal clients using Facebook and Instagram ads. She has a podcast now. It's called The Ads Maven, where she provides free trainings, monthly membership, coaching, and ad management. She's here to help your business grow faster and grow a targeted email list. And when she's not helping world changers grow their business, you can find her indulging and reading YA, young adult fiction, visiting filming sites of The Walking Dead. I'm super intrigued. We're going to have to talk about that. Swimming in the ocean and playing with her 3 rescue dogs. Please help me welcome Jenn. Hi, welcome back.
Hi, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it made me realize I need to update it because we just got a puppy, so we have 4 dogs, which is insanity.
Yeah, I have 4 kids, so I can only imagine, like, 4 kids, 4 dogs, like, you're up-leveling to, like, a whole new level, girl.
Yeah, we really are. It's too much. It's too much.
That's awesome. Well,
yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so glad to have you here. Tell us a little bit. I know you have 4 puppies, or 4 dogs. I guess they're not all puppies, but tell us a little bit about who you are and how you started your business.
Yeah, so I got started in the whole world of Facebook ads and Facebook in general back in 2014, working with my family's business. And kind of to back that up just a little bit. So I used to teach elementary school. I taught kindergarten for 5 years and then 3rd grade for 3. And I loved teaching. I loved working with my students. I hated all the politics that went along with being in the public school system. And I quit, spent some time figuring out what I wanted to do next. And So back in 2014, my dad's health was not great. He was introduced to a health and wellness product that had a big impact on his health. It's a micronized purple rice that most people have not ever heard of. That's able to, it's an actual purple rice grown in Thailand. It's able to get into the cells and regenerate them. And it had a big impact on his health. He's been diabetic as long as I've been alive. It helped take his morning blood sugar from 200 to 110 within about 3 months. For my mom, it helped lower her cholesterol 72 points within about a month. And they've basically always been entrepreneurs. So they did what entrepreneurs tend to do, and they started sharing purple rice with food everywhere. And I decided to join them in their business, and I knew we needed an online presence, but I didn't really know anything about the whole world of digital marketing, but I believe we're all lifelong learners. And so I just started learning everything I could from everywhere I could, and very quickly found that growing an email list to then sell to the list was a really profitable and effective strategy. So I grew their email list to a little over 160,000, which brought in over 2 million in sales, which is pretty cool.
Wow.
So So after I'd been doing that for about a year, and I found that Facebook ads were really the most effective way to kind of put that on hyperdrive. So I'd been doing it for about a year when I started my own business, and I just wanted to really share what I know. And so it's evolved a little over time. When I first started out, it was really all things Facebook. And now it's really just focused on Facebook and Instagram ads. So I work with a lot of coaches, and it's still the same overall ad strategies that are effective, where it's growing an email list that you can then sell to the list, and running ads to sell to your audience that already that already knows you. Yeah. So today I offer ads management. I offer done with you ads coaching, which is kind of my favorite. I think because I still get to teach, and I love that side of it. And then I also do occasional group coaching and have a monthly membership as well.
That's awesome. Yeah, and I work with my clients to have, like, you have to have an email list. If you have an online business, like, the number one rule is you have to have a way to, like, attract them and communicate with them. And if Facebook was to disappear tomorrow, like, you have to have their emails, right? So you can stay in touch.
Absolutely.
I think so many people have gotten in the pattern of, oh, I have this Instagram community and I have a Facebook community, but we forget, like, we don't actually own those platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to have some way to grab those email lists. So I love that you are teaching, like, how to get more people on that list, which is beautiful. And I work with my clients so much with helping them get organic leads in the beginning, because we want to make sure we have the right strategy in place, which I know we can talk about in a minute, but, like, having a strategy to do it, like, organically before you start putting money into it, because you don't want to just create a Facebook ad, and if it's, like, the totally wrong ad and you're talking to the wrong ideal client, you're gonna spend a lot of money and you're not gonna have anything to show for it. So
yeah, absolutely. I basically say the same thing, where I am always telling people, like, you want to test it organically before you start putting money behind ads, because ads are not going to fix something that's not already working. Like, if it's like a lead magnet that people don't want, or it's not aligned with your ideal audience, like, you're just going to waste money. So absolutely, like, I'm all about testing it organically before. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I mean, how many times do we create a lead magnet? Probably all of us who are listeners at some point have created a lead magnet. We're super stoked about it. We're excited. We're like, this is going to, like, help so many people. And then, like, we get 2 subscribers, or we're like, what's wrong? Like, we're putting it out there and, like, nobody's even clicking on it. And we're like, what is going on with this? And if you were to take that exact same ad and throw it up on Facebook, if it's not converting when it's free, it's definitely not going to convert when you're paying for it. Like,
exactly.
You got to fine tune it. So
yeah.
Go ahead.
So yeah, it makes me think of, so one of my students, she is she's like a LinkedIn and, like, resume coach. And she put together a lead magnet that was all about, like, top resume mistakes. And she put it out organically on LinkedIn. She got, like, 14 people that opted in for it. And of those, like, 2 or 3 of them started asking her about working with her. And it's like, oh, for sure, it's like, you need to put some money behind that, because if it's like you're getting clients from it, when it's like something that you did for free, like, absolutely, it's like, now's the time to put some ads behind it.
Like, put some money behind it. And you're like, all right, if I can get 2 or 3 clients with 14 people signing up organically, what happens if I get in front of 100 people and I get 100 people signed up? Like,
exactly.
Those numbers don't lie. If you're consistently, if you know that your average is 1 or 2 people per 100 are going to sign into a group coaching program or sign to your one-on-one, then you're ready for those numbers to start playing out.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit then. So if somebody has a business, they've got their opt-in created, they're starting to get some traction with it. People are downloading it. They're getting things, like, organically, everything's starting to work together. They're getting clients from it. They're getting people opted in. They have people that are engaging with their newsletter list. How do you know when you're ready to put some money behind it and actually start creating some Facebook ads?
I mean, so that kind of sounds like you're describing exactly when it means that they're ready to put some money behind some ads. So if you have a way that you're already growing your email list organically and it's working, like, that pretty much lets you know, like, okay, now I need to, like, amp it up a little bit so that I can just bring more people on faster. Also, if you know that you're wanting to scale your business a bit and you have space to bring on more clients, I would say then, yeah, it's absolutely the time to start running some ads.
Awesome. Yeah, because so many people that I talk to, they're kind of afraid, though, to put money into it. Like, I feel like, I know I've run Facebook ads in the past, and sometimes they've worked well and I've gotten a lot of people signed up and some of them have turned into clients. And I remember the first time I created a Facebook ad, I got, like, nothing. It was like, I'm like, nobody's responding. I'm not getting anything. It was for a challenge that I was running. So it was running people to a challenge and then to my one-on-one package from there. And I got like 10 signups. And I was like, I felt defeated. I'm like, what the heck happened? Like, I felt like everything was going good before that point. So what do you tell people who are doing it like their first time? Like
Okay. So, I mean, there's so many factors to ads, and ads, they take time and they take testing. So the first ad that you run with like the first audience and copy and graphics, like it may not be the winner, but it's like, that's why you have to spend some time testing it to see what's going to be most effective. So I like to start off spending like $10 a day per ad set. If I'm testing ads, I'll do one ad per ad set. So let's say I'm testing 2 different audiences. I would do like $10 a day on each ad set. Same thing if I'm testing like 2 different graphics or 2 different versions of the ad copy. I would say 2 different ad sets, $10 a day on each. I am typically looking to so you want to run those types of ads. 90% of the ads that you're going to run are going to be ads for conversions. In order to run the ads for, so actually, let me back up. The reason why we want to do that is basically Facebook's algorithm is brilliant and it knows way too much about us, including how we use Facebook, which is actually kind of the coolest part about Facebook ads, I think. So it can take an audience of like, so if you're targeting by country or larger, I usually like my audience size to be around 1 million if it's a cold audience. So it can take that audience of 1 million people and say, okay, here's the people in the audience that are most likely to just keep on scrolling. Here's the people that are most likely to like a page. Here's the ones that are most likely to engage on a post. Here's the ones that are most likely to click and the ones that are most likely to convert. So if you're running ads because you want to grow your email list, you want people to convert, right? You want them to convert into a lead. So with that, you set the ad for conversions. It's going to show the ad to the people most likely to convert, which means you're going to get a better cost per conversion. So with that, you have to have your Facebook pixel placed on your website, and you want to have like a standard event pixel or a custom conversion on the thank you page after somebody has signed up. So you want to be able to track it as either a lead or a complete registration. That's one area that I see people flounder with a lot is Facebook pixels, just because they're confusing and they're a little bit techie and so you want to make sure that that's in place. So with that, when I'm running ads for somebody to sign up for my lead magnet, typically I used to say I want to get conversions for between like $1 and $3 a lead. Now, I will say Facebook ad costs have gone up. So now it depends so much on, so many factors like the niche and your audience and all of that. But I will still consider between $1 and $5 a pretty good cost depending on the business. Now, I know there are some people, it depends on your business. It depends on like what's the lifetime value of your customer. So what's that lead worth it to you? But I know some they're for $8 that good. Myself, if I'm getting $7 or $8 leads, I feel like it's too high and I'll stop those ads. But one of the coolest things with that, if you're running ads and you've been running it for like 48 to 72 hours and the cost is too high, you just turn them off. It lets you know like, hey, I need to edit something in there, and you can stop the ads, which I think is one of like the best parts about like Facebook and Instagram ads as opposed to like print media and stuff like other forms of advertising where you're spending all that money up front.
Yeah, you can pause it and say, okay, let's reevaluate what's going on. Like we're not converting, or we're at $10 per lead. Like what do we need to change to get it down between that?
Yeah. And then you can look at you can look at kind of all the factors of where is it that it's not converting. Are people clicking, but then they're not signing up? Because if that's the case, it might be an issue with your landing page. It could always be an issue that something like happened where it's not tracking correctly if people aren't getting to the thank you page. Or if they're just not even clicking, like it could be that there's something with the ad or with the audience. And so it's just figuring out like, okay, what do we need to tweak to see if we can get it to go better?
Yeah. You mentioned doing like the $10 per day as you're testing it to see how it works. How many days do you recommend someone to test it? Is it like 2 days or 5 days or 10 days?
So that like 2 to 3 days, like 48 to 72 hours is a decent time for it to run. Now, sometimes you'll see the costs start really low and it'll start creeping up over time. Sometimes you'll see the ad costs start off like ridiculously high and it'll start to go down. So sometimes it's kind of like, so much of running ads is like this art science. It's like you use what you know, but there's like the art side of it as well. So sometimes it's just like, I kind of feel like this ad needs another day or two, so let's check back with it like tomorrow or the next day. Yeah. But in general, like 3 days is a good enough time to know what it's doing.
Yeah. Awesome. And then I know that there's a difference you'd mentioned before, like having a cold audience that you've maybe never even been in front of before versus marketing and doing ads to a warmer audience. Can you talk a little bit about like the difference if it's a cold market versus people that you've interacted with?
Yeah, absolutely. So, and your people watching this probably already know this, but we buy from those we know, like, and trust, right? So when you're running ads, the same thing is true. If you're selling anything that's more than like $50 or more, you want to run those ads to a warm audience that already knows you. With Facebook, we can find that audience 4 different ways. Basically, so anybody who's engaged with your Facebook business page, in the last year, anyone who's engaged with your Instagram business profile in the last year, anybody that's visited any page on your website, as long as you have the Facebook pixel on it, and then anybody that's on your email list, as long as you upload your email list. And you do have to have a business manager account instead of just ads manager. It can't be like a personal ad account, but to upload your email list, which is something that Facebook just started doing in the last year, which I don't love that they do that, but it is what it is. So that's your warm audience. For any time, I kind of think like if you are doing anything to really launch something where the end result is going to be a sale, you really want to focus on your warm audience. And so that means if you're running ads to a webinar or ads to a challenge where you're going to sell at the end of that challenge or at the end of the webinar, it's going to be more effective and you're going to get a better cost if you're running those to your warm audience. I don't think it's a bad idea if you have the ads budget to also include a cold audience in that, but you're going to get better results from those that already know, like, and trust you, right? So your cold audience is just people that don't already know you. There's a couple different ways that we can reach them with ads. So you can do the detailed targeting, which is like people who like different pages and just show different interests, different demographics. And then you can also do lookalike audiences, which tend to be really effective. So a lookalike audience is basically you give Facebook an audience, like a base audience that you know is already, here's my ideal audience. You just have to have at least 100 people in a country. So you could say, here's my email list. You upload it to Facebook and you tell Facebook, create an audience that looks like this audience. Because Facebook knows way too much about us, they're able to go in and then create that audience that looks very similar to it, just is much larger. So it'll create an audience up to, usually it's 1% of the population of the country. So if it's like a US audience that's a lookalike, it'll do 1%, which will be like 2.2 million. You can do up to like 10%, but you don't really want to. You usually want to do like that 1 or 2% of the country. But yeah, lookalike audiences tend to be really effective, and you can also add the detailed targeting on top of that. Oh, one of the other things that Facebook has with targeting, so it's funny because so on my radio show, /podcast, The Ads Maven, I just did an episode all about audiences. And so this show it's a 55-minute show, which I feel like I'm not that much of a talker and I'm having to learn to be. So I did a whole episode just about audiences and I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm going to be able to like fill this whole time. And I almost I had to cut stuff because I almost went over because it was just
too long.
yeah, only talking about audiences. But But one of the cool things that Facebook has, and when I say Facebook, I also mean Instagram, because Facebook owns Instagram. And so you run both types of ads from the ads manager. Is I call it like and or but not targeting. So it's like this layered targeting. So I can say I want to run ads to people that are interested in A or B, and they have to also be interested in C, but not interested in D. And so because of that, we can get so detailed in our targeting and make sure that we're really hitting all the things that we need to hit in our ideal audience, which I think is really awesome and really helpful. Yeah.
And it's so, when you go into that Facebook ad management area, it's overwhelming to somebody who's like me, who doesn't do that for a living like you do. I'm sure you go in there and you're like, oh, like you just click, and here you go, and you're good to go. So if somebody's starting out with doing ads, is it something they can mess around with and play with on their own? Or is it, I mean, obviously we want to go to an expert and have them do it, but if somebody wants to try to figure it out, because like I'm kind of the type of person, I want to figure it out myself, and then I want to give it to somebody else and be like, that way, if something ever happens, I can still do it.
Yeah.
But knowing that I'm not an expert in that area, like I like to kind of play that way. What's your thoughts on that?
Okay. So when I was first starting out, I learned a lot on my own. But I also did take courses and stuff so that I knew some of what I was doing. Here's the thing. It's very easy to waste money with Facebook ads. And at the same time, like part of why I really love doing the Done With You ads coaching is I think people should absolutely know what's going on in their ad accounts before they just hand it off to an ads manager to run ads for them. Like they should know they should know some of what's happening in there. I just think you want to be a little bit cautious if you're going and playing around, just to make sure that you're not spending too much without it being effective. Yeah.
No, I completely agree, because and especially when it's in like I built my own website, and I took forever, and it's like that learning curve, and you can do it.
Absolutely.
It doesn't mean that it's like it didn't look great in the beginning. It looked super choppy, but I learned how to do it, and now I know how to do stuff, and I can also have my VA do stuff. So it's nice that, like I can do it, or I can have somebody else do it. So it's like that give and take where you're like, I could do this if I have to, but it's not my expertise. I'm going to give it to the experts. So
yeah, I mean, like I totally get the like do it yourself though, and I think that is awesome, but you still want some type of guidance, whether it's like a course or coaching or something, just so that you're not wasting money. And I know like one of the things, I feel like I'm kind of like a broken record talking about like don't like just boost your posts. And I think like everybody's boosted posts because Facebook makes it so easy, but it's just like you're basically just totally wasting money and giving it away.
Can you talk more about that? Because I hear conflicting stories on boosting. I've listened to some people and they're like, boost your post. It's like do $10, you'll get more followers, you'll get more engagement to your warm audience. And then I know you've always said like don't boost. So I'm curious, like, why do you say no where other people say yes?
Yeah. Okay. So I will say, I mean, every once in a while I'll tell people, okay, it might make sense to like boost it. But the biggest thing you have to look at is what's your goal? Is your goal to get leads, or is it to get engagement on your page? Now, I know like there are some businesses where it's like they need so much engagement because they're getting like sponsorship and stuff. Like, and so they need to be able to show people like, hey, yeah, we get engagement on this. In that case, it might be worthwhile. But if your whole goal is to grow your email list, you don't want to boost a post. So the biggest reason why, and I used to say it was two reasons, the second one being audiences, but Facebook has changed it so you can do the layered targeting when you're boosting a post. But the biggest reason is the ad objectives. So again, like the majority of the time you want to run your ads for conversions, especially if you're getting somebody to sign up for your email list. You want to be able to track them as a conversion. When you're boosting a post, you basically are running it for either post engagement or video views. If you're running it for post engagement, that means it's showing the ad to people most likely to engage on your post. So Facebook calculates engagement as likes, comments, clicks, and shares. But if you're doing post engagement, it's mostly going to be a lot of page likes. No, sorry, post likes. So you'll get a bunch of likes on that post, you'll get some comments, but very few people will actually take action to sign up for what you're putting out there. If you're doing video views, most of the people will watch the video, and if it's a video post, most of the people with post engagement are going to watch the video and do that. With that, they count it as like 3-second views. So if your goal is to get somebody to sign up for your email list, you're not going to really get people doing that if you're boosting a post. But if that's not, yeah, exactly. But it's like if your goal is like you just want to make sure more people are seeing this particular post, okay, fine. Like spend a few bucks on it. But in general, I don't recommend it.
It made me think too. I know that you're big on having the pixel, attaching the Facebook pixel, if I can say it, to like our website and all those places. Does it help then if you do boost to have like a warmer audience? Like, would it help in the boost scenario for like if you're like to get in front of more people that might have seen you? Would that help like long-term game-wise for your Facebook ad, or not as much?
I mean, potentially. It depends on like what's your strategy. So it could be, so let's say you're in the middle of a launch and you just want as many people that have, let's say you want everybody that's visited this particular sales page to also see this like testimonial that you posted, right? So you might do like, let's say you boosted the testimonial only to people that are in your warm audience that have visited the sales page. That might make sense to do it just for post engagement, but realistically you could also run the ad just as easily. Like it would take, like you could still have the post be on your page, you just run it from inside Ads Manager and run it for reach to make sure that it's reaching all of the people in that audience. So I think, I mean, it's like there are times when you could do it, it just doesn't, it makes more sense to do it inside Ads Manager. The other time that like, so because sometimes post engagement does make sense. I know, okay, so with my family's business, sometimes like they offer specials where it's not available on the website. So people have to call to order it. And there's no real way to like track that. We're not going to send them to our website for them to make a phone call. So in the ad, like it'll just say like, hey, call us here to place your order. So I would run those ads for post engagement because I just want people to engage with it and make sure that they're seeing it as much as possible.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm glad to get like your opinion on it because like the whole boosting conversation, I feel like I've seen it come up and some people are like, yes, go for it. And then other people are like, no. And I'm always like, which way are we supposed to go? So that makes sense. So I'm glad you broke it down for us that way. Cause I think a lot of people have that question. Like it's so easy to boost. Yeah, I mean, it's not as easy to do the Facebook ad, like for somebody like me who doesn't do it for a living. Like they just make it easier, but you're kind of just throwing money out it and you don't know what you're getting back from it.
Yeah, exactly.
So tell us a little bit about so primarily you work with your clients in two ways. You either do their ad management for them, correct? Or you help them with their ad management. Is that correct?
Yeah, basically. And so when I'm doing like the done with you coaching, we work on like basically any step of the funnel that they need. So in that case, like I'll sometimes work with them to make sure that they're like lead magnet, like landing page, thank you page, emails, like all of that is as effective as possible. And then make sure that their ads are going and converting effectively and giving a good cost. And if they're not, it's, like going in and editing and figuring out what can we do to improve it. And then also how to optimize and how to scale. Yeah.
Awesome. You made me just think of something. Somebody just was telling me the other day that on the thank you page for their opt-in, that videos are getting a lot more traction now versus just having like a short little like thank you for signing up for my page.
Yeah.
Is that something that you work with your clients? Is that something that you're seeing a trend with as well, or?
That's interesting. I mean, I think in general, like video is always good to put it on there, because even if people aren't watching it, like just having it there and like starting to play, like I think it makes a difference.
Yeah. And like you mentioned before, that like no like trust factor, like video helps with that so quickly.
Oh my gosh.
They can hear you, see you, and like they feel like they know you just from like a super short interaction.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because I think about like podcasts are similar except for like the visual, but like just hearing somebody's voice or like seeing like there's so much like nuance that you just don't get when you're just reading text.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's fun. I thought it was interesting because as I'm planning the summit, I was like, maybe I should record a thank you video. I haven't done it yet.
So I mean, it sounds like you should.
We'll see if I do one or not. You all will know right now if you got one or not. Awesome. So as we kind of start to wrap up, what's the best way for people to work with you? Like, how do you like to work with people? And what's like a first step if somebody's like, I think I want to talk to Jenn about this and I want to start putting some ads out there?
Yeah, so the first step is just to have a conversation and we'll chat and see if and how I can help you. So I offer a free 30-minute consultation to just learn more about your business, and yeah.
Awesome. Very good. Okay. So I'm doing something fun this year. So I'm going to ask you 4 rapid fire questions just so we can kind of get to know you a little bit better. No pressure.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it at all.
Okay. So question 1, do you have a morning routine? And if so, what is it?
Oh gosh, my first thought is like, I don't really, but I kind of do. I just don't always stick to it. So this year I've gotten much more intentional about taking supplements on a regular basis. So I make sure that I'm taking my supplements every morning, especially my vitamin D. Earlier this year, I found out that my vitamin D was really low, which impacts like everything. I was like tired all the time, and it made such a difference, like taking it and bringing those levels up. And then I also recently, I became a member of Brooke Castillo's Self-Coaching Scholars. And so when I'm on top of it, I'm doing my mindset stuff and my Self-Coaching Scholars work every morning.
Awesome. That's amazing. Yeah. No, it's always good to like curl up with your journal or work on yourself first thing in the morning, just so you start out the day like in the right mindset. Because especially as entrepreneurs, right? Like we're our worst critic to ourselves. Like we can put ourselves in a funk just as easily as we can bring ourselves out sometimes. So that self-coaching is so important.
Oh my gosh, absolutely.
All right. And what book has made the biggest impact on your growth? And I know they're all amazing, but if you had to name one?
Oh man, I feel like that's such a challenging question. So I'm very much a reader. Like I read a lot, but I read a lot of fiction. I don't necessarily finish a lot of like business and motivational stuff. More than anything, I do a lot of like podcasts and a lot of videos and audios and not so much books. However, oh gosh, I gotta think about this.
Or what's a podcast that you're listening to right now that like you're loving? Besides your own.
Okay. Okay. So, Brooke Castillo's Life Coach School podcast is definitely a big one. Real Talk with Rachel Luna is definitely a big one. Online Marketing Made Easy with Amy Porterfield is probably one of the biggest. Actually, that would be like the biggest, because that's listening to her podcast like back in the day is what like got me started with the whole world of like digital marketing. So,
that's awesome. Yeah. I love all 3 of them, so I'm glad you listed those. But Amy's probably one of my favorites too. I don't listen for like a few weeks, and then I binge listen to her, and she's like my favorite.
Yeah,
awesome.
So good.
All right, and if you could do one thing different that, like, if you knew what you knew now as when you started out your business, what would be that one thing that you wish you would have done differently to start?
Oh man, it would be like a whole lot more mindset work early on, because that's been the biggest thing that I found. Like, I was holding myself back with my business, and it was all mindset, because it's like I knew what I needed to do, but it wasn't until like I started really working on that like things started to really change. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Mindset's always something that I feel like I'm like, it's a constant work. Even when I like get to like that up level next spot, like there's always something new.
Yeah, there's new stuff. And then there's new stuff.
You're like, can we just like get rid of all of it in like one sweep?
Right. I know. Yeah.
All right. And last question, to go in theme with our summit this year, what does attract and stand out mean to you?
Oh man. Okay. So for me, it means like super visibility. And I feel like it's such a big thing, because that kind of goes hand in hand with mindset stuff, for me at least, because I used to say that like my superpower was like being invisible, where like there have been like legit been times I've been like standing at the grocery store waiting to check out, and like the grocery store clerk is like right there just staring through me, doesn't see me at all, just totally invisible. And like the thing is though, like as entrepreneurs, as business owners, like being invisible is not a superpower, because it like does nothing to grow your business. So I mean, it's such a critical thing, and it takes work, and it takes like, I mean, it's a big deal to be able to really like, yeah,
to be seen. Yeah. Just to be seen and like have like constantly show up. And especially when you're working in the online world, like you have to show up, and sometimes that's in scary ways. It's showing up in summits and doing live videos or hosting a podcast. Like there's all these ways that we can do it, thank goodness now. And luckily, if we don't love video, we can do audio or different things now, but it's so important just to
oh my gosh, absolutely. Yeah, and it's so funny because sometimes I have people ask me about like, oh, how do you do all these like live videos and you just like look so comfortable? I'm like, okay, first off, I don't feel comfortable, and it just takes like practice, and it's just deciding like, oh, I'm going to actually like show up and do it because I know I have to.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
And you're not doing it for yourself. You're doing it for the people, like for your people, like your audience,
yeah.
Like you're helping them save the world and solve crazy problems.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like one of the biggest things is like, and I've heard people say this, and I can't tell you who exactly, but basically if you're not showing up, you're being selfish, because like you're not putting your gifts out there for that person that's looking for them. And so it's like, how can you do that when it's, yeah.
Yeah, no, I've heard that before too. And it's true, because we attract people that are like, they like our personality, how we say things, how we do things, like they feel comfortable with us, and they could go to other people, but they're here for us. Like they want to hear our message, our way, from our experiences and what's happened in our past. Like we bring that to them. So yeah, we have to show up.
Yeah,
I love that.
Absolutely.
Well, I'm so glad you were a part of the virtual summit again this year. And I know you have a free gift for us. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I do, yeah. So I have my roadmap to profitable Facebook ads that walks you basically, like, it gives you the roadmap for running ads that are going to grow your email list. Yeah.
Awesome. And that will be listed right below. So make sure you guys sign up for your free gift. And for those of you that want to follow Jenn and find out about our podcast and just see what she's up to, where do you like to hang out the most?
Yeah. Oh gosh. I mean, probably Facebook. Facebook is probably the biggest, but I've been pretty active on Instagram as well. Both of those are just at Jenn Posick.
Awesome. And you have a fabulous website too. So definitely go check that out and learn more about Jenn. Well, thank you so much for being a part. It's been so fun.
Thank you so much for having me. It has been lots of fun.